Rakesh.
Shall we begin?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Shall we begin? Ma'am, please roll on the PPT. So, hi, a very good evening, one and all. My name is Akash Saxena, Daily Chapter of HVACR. Today, I, along with Mr. Mani Khanna, would like to invite all of you to today's event, Evolution of Youth in HVAC in our industry. I think before jumping on to the event, I would like to wish all of you a very happy International Youth Day with 12th August. 12th August. We celebrate this day as International Youth Day. So first, I would like to invite our first special invitee, Mr. Srinivas. Ma'am, can you please skip to next slide? Yes. Srinivas sir, he is a national chair youth at ISHRAE. He is bachelor's in engineering and mechanical with over 14 plus years of experience in HVAC and our industry, senior associate at RSP Design Consultant India Private Limited, associated with Airtron and lead consultants Bangalore with various projects in the design of HVAC and MEP system. He has expertise in the areas of residential, commercial, hospitality, IT parks, and corporate office buildings. Certified Data Center Professional TIA 942 IGBC AP. Technical Group Chair of Electricals and Controls in ISHRAE. Member of ISHRAE Technical Committee 2020-21. Coordination with support and youth for youth and ISHRAE. Srinivas sir, please.
Thank you, Arka. A very good evening to everyone. I wish you all a very International Youth Day. On this occasion, I thank everyone for joining this event, which is organized by Youth at ISHRAE. I also convey my welcome and the thanks to all the panelists who have joined today for the topic of evolution of youth in HVAC and industry. I also thank my team who is making this event, Mani, Akash, and all the team members of this HQ Secretariat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Srinivas sir. After a special invitee, I would like to invite our ISHRAE National President, Mr. Amitabh Sur, to inaugurate the event. First, I would like to give a brief about Amitabh sir. He's a mechanical engineer and an MBA in marketing and finance, having more than 33 years of experience in the field of HVAC&R and allied products. He is Director Operations of Aircon India Incorporated, one of the leading HVAC&R contracting companies in Eastern region, based off Kolkata, and one of the country's leading business partner of Carrier and Toshiba Air Conditioner. He specializes in industrial ventilation and fume extraction systems and has a rich background of product management of large MEP projects. He is currently serving as ISHRAE President, as I earlier mentioned. He has earlier served as ISHRAE as National Secretary, National Treasurer, Vice President, and Regional Director. Amitabh sir, please.
Thank you, Akash. Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the celebration of International Youth Day program. And I wish you all a very happy International Youth Day. So, as Franklin Roosevelt said, that we cannot always build the future of our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. So that's what actually ISHRAE did when Vishal Kapoor was the president. He's here, he will be speaking today, you will be hearing from him. It was a brainchild of him and Sachin Maheshwari, and during his tenure, ISHRAE rolled out this special segment of youth at ISHRAE, focusing at youth members, empowering them, engaging them, and involving them in all the ISHRAE activities that we do. Over this last 4 years, the youth has done a remarkable job in ISHRAE. It was initially arranging and organizing some programs, some webinars, but today webinars have become, at our fingertips. All of us, we know, but today youth is doing much more than that at ISHRAE. Youth is engaged in practically all the committees, whether it is technical, whether it is marketing, whether it is education committee, whether it is, the programs committee or the membership outreach committee. They are involved and they are doing a tremendous work. They're supporting the chapters. I can tell you the most vibrant chapters of ISHRAE today are the chapters where the youth is strong, where there are youth members who are in the CWC, where they are taking active participation. And that is the strength of ISHRAE. They are today it's not only for the committees, it's also a support to the HQ officers. They bring fresh ideas, they engage with us, they talk to us, and they come up with brilliant ideas to shape up the society in a better way. And they, organize these programs and transform the society to a youthful society. And a number of activities that they are today involved is amazing. It cannot be counted. It cannot be just acknowledged so easily. Their presence is today, I would say, in ISHRAE is omnipresent. India is also a youth country. Our strength is, our youth. So we have and we need more dedicated, hardworking, ambitious, and disciplined youth for the country to prosper. So is the requirement in ISHRAE also. Though we have a huge number of youth members today engaged in all the chapters and they're doing a fantastic job, but we want more. And we need more and more youth to come and join us so that this society builds a super strong future. And they don't have to look back, because the energy that the youth can transpire to build this society and to take that the future leap is not possible without them. So that is what I think we are all driving at. I think the youth team is also driving at. We are growing with the youth members each year after year. Every year there's a growth in the youth member, and not only in terms of just membership number, as I mentioned, they are now even involved in all activities. To me, youth is a state of mind. It is not dependent on age. If you are willing to change, if you are open to change, if you are progressive, if you are dynamic, if you involve yourself, engage yourself, doesn't matter at what age you are. You can still be youthful and you can still contribute to the nation, to the society, to the work that you do, to the organization that you belong to. And therefore, my request to the youth is that have your ambition, be disciplined, and you will definitely set examples. I will end with a quote of Swami Vivekananda, who is the youth icon. He said that take risks in your life. If you win, you may lead. If you lose, you may guide. So there is nothing to lose actually. If you take risks, if you have ambition, if you have determination, if you are disciplined, you will actually go forward. And that's what you are doing at ISHRAE. Thank you very much. I wish all the best to this program, which will be talking of evolution of youth in HVACR industry. And we have an elite panel to talk about it, and you will be hear from them. And I'm sure this will be a very enjoying evening for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Amitabh sir. It was great to hear from you. Now, as our national president has inaugurated the event, I would like to invite our today's keynote speaker, Mr. Vishal Kapoor, to share his insights for today's program. I would like to give you a brief intro of Mr. Vishal Kapoor. Mr. Vishal Kapoor has been engaged with HVACR industry for the last 25 years. He is mechanical engineer from IIT Roorkee, MBA from FMS Delhi. He is National Chair, ISHRAE Technical Committee, Chair, ISHRAE COVID Task Force, National President of ISHRAE, was National President in 2017-18. He is Managing Director of MEHO HCP Systems Private Limited, a large HVAC contracting and service company based out of Kolkata and Delhi, and doing projects all over East and North India. He is partner in Environmental Protection Services Company, EBSCO, a firm offering HVAC remediation and IAQ services. Vishal sir, please.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you for the kind words, and a very, very, very good evening to all the people listening into this wonderful program. It gives me great pleasure being part of the youth program, because I had a small role to play to have this youth initiative started at ISHRAE, and there was a big team who drove it all. I was just happened to be there at the right time. And it's good that they've invited me to talk about this, because it's something which you always love talking to the youth. Amitabh said that youth is not just about age, youth is all in the mind and heart. I agree. But nevertheless, today, let me just talk about what are the strengths of youth. When we talk about youth, what are we talking about? We're talking about energy. We're talking of ambition. We're talking of youth generally is technically as well as technologically, that means electronically, much more advanced and knowledgeable. Youth has ears on the sides. The ears have on the side. They have a career to build. They have a professional journey that they can plan and execute properly. Now let's look at the HVAC trade, the HVAC in our trade. What is it that we're talking about over here? Now it's said that this industry is supposed to grow 8 times in the next couple of decades. That means for all practical purposes, the HVAC industry is a very young industry because it is yet to go. We are just at 7 to 8% penetration levels in our country as far as air conditioning is going. If you look at the refrigeration numbers, it's even worse from that perspective, whether it's a cold chain or all other aspects of refrigeration. So that means this industry is actually still very young. So isn't that a convenient marriage, a perfect marriage of the youth, as in people coming to an industry which is young and bound to grow leaps and bounds? Now let's look at what this energy further offers. One of the unique industries which offers you connect, you can be with consumer products, you can be with industrial applications, you can be with commercial applications, you can be with refrigeration applications. We are offering services for the pharma sector. We are offering services and solutions for the cold chain. We are offering solutions for the food safety. We are offering solutions for air quality, for hospitals, for healthcare, and inside offices, you're offering comfort, productivity, health, safety. It's a wide gamut over there. No other industry can give you that kind of a potential which this industry gives for the youth of today to plan their tomorrow. What are the other features? Now, this, if you want, as someone who's starting his career or someone who's like getting into the lives ahead, everyone has different enjoyment or different ways they want to plan their careers ahead. Now, let's look at what this industry offers. You could be in manufacturing. You want to be in manufacturing. You like being in shop floors and factories. This industry is bound to be growing multiple times, specifically with the Atmanirbhar and Make in India program. More and more manufacturing across the spectrum is going to be coming to India. That means for people who love being on the shop floor, this is where it is. Do you like being in the field? Do you like being part of the construction industry? You like seeing buildings come up in front of you. You like things being put up in front of you. But this industry offers you that opportunity. Then you can be part of the contracting industry. You can be out there in the field. Construction industry today is the second largest contributor to our GDP. And it's going to go bigger and bigger and bigger. This industry offers you that. You like being part of customer relationship management. You like being in the services industry. This industry, it is said that the life cycle cost of an air conditioning system, the product cost is barely 10 to 12%. The balance is all about the operational and service cost. That means this industry offers phenomenal avenues for you to plan if you want to be in that field. You like being in automation and electronics. That is where this field is going. Everything is getting automated. We are all around electronics today with building automation, IoT, etc. You have a huge opportunity coming in this trade. You are a researcher, you like being in design, you want to design stuff around you. Well, this business, this industry is all starts from the design, from a consulting house, where you start first designing a system, working closely with architects, with clients, with designers to ensure that the end product comes out beautiful. We're talking of buildings today, which are net zero, in fact, positive energy buildings, which will contribute back to the grid instead of consuming. So imagine the amount of research, the amount of activity you can build into this industry if you come on and join over here. So it's actually the perfect industry to be in if you are a youth today. If you have age on your side, if you are energetic, ambitious, and you want to do something concrete in your life, you want to be part of what we call the core industry, not just floating around. You want to be absolutely hardcore engineering industry, whether it is in sales, whether it is in construction activities, whether it is in design, whether it is in manufacturing, whatever you want. For the youth of today, this is the industry for tomorrow, and it's going to stay, it's going to last. It is not an industry which is going to go through sine waves of ups and downs, etc. No, it is going to be constantly, steadily growing for the next couple of decades or more, even beyond that. So it's a good place to be in. And finally, George Bernard Shaw had said, youth is wasted on the young. Let's prove him wrong that no, youth is not wasted on the young. Youth is utilized by the young in the perfect manner. I look forward to this session and hope to have much more good engagement and connect with the panelists ahead. Thank you, Akash, and over back to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, before meeting the panelists, I would like to share a quote with all of you. A quote from Can we move to the next slide, please? Yes, it's a quote from Bill Gates. Now, the quote says, as we look ahead into the next century, leaders will be those who empower others. So, it's very important for us to empower other people to be a successful person and to build an industry that is good for each and every person who's coming into it. Now, time to meet our elite panelists. First of all, I would start with the panelists from the industry. Next slide, please. Yes, next slide, please. Yes. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Vikram Murthy. Mr. Vikram Murthy is a Bachelor in Technology, Electrical Engineering, IIT Kanpur, India, with experience of 45 years in the HVAC industry. He has been project manager with Voltas, Director, Genpower Electric Private Limited, manufacturer of air handling units and electrical control panels. He has also served as Executive Vice President, Utility Engineers India Limited, for central air conditioning projects. He has been partner tropical air conditioning, refrigeration training, HVAC, and our professional and representation of ISHRAE for certification of HVAC equipments. Presidential member ISHRAE, past president of ISHRAE Mumbai chapter and Rotary Club of Bombay Film City. Regional lecturer ISHRAE, member Technology Task Force, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Welcome, Vikram sir. Our second panelist for industry is Mr. Pankaj Dharkar. Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, a renowned MEP and green building consultant and ISHRAE and IGBC fellow. He has successfully designed and completed more than 4,000 projects of various applications. He is a member of ISHRAE, FSAI, IGBC, USGBC, GACS, IPA, AISCRA, NFPA, IAQA, SSI, CTBUH, etc. He is also presidential member ISHRAE headquarters, ISHRAE FSAI, Fire and Security Association of India, and immediate past president of FSAI. He is currently national chair FSAI Suraksha Index, first global index to rate safety and security of buildings, which will help in proper fire audits, and also chairman FSAI COVID Task Force. He is also currently chairman of ASSOCHAM GEM program in India. Very warm welcome, Pankaj sir. Our last panelist for the industry is Mr. Harshal Surange. Mr. Harshal Surange is the director and CEO of ACR Project Consultants Private Limited, Pune, with more than 20 years experience in the industry. Mr. Harshal has handled 250 plus cold chain projects across the country. Mr. Harshal has been awarded with prestigious Bry-Air Award in 2009 for excellence in system design and Emerson Cup for refrigeration design at Southeast Asia level in 2010. Mr. Harshal is appointed as the chair of ISHRAE RAL Refrigeration Committee for the year 2021-22 and is a member of ISHRAE USA REF CPCC Process and Cold Chain Committee for a term of 3 years, 2020 to 2023. He is past president of ISHRAE Pune chapter. He was the chair of the ISHRAE Refrigeration Handbook Committee and is the past national chair of the ISHRAE Refrigeration Committee. He has been actively involved with the NHB National Horticulture Board for various assignments. So these are the elite panelists for the industry. Now I would like to move forward to the panelists for the academy. So our first panelist from the academy is Mr. Kunal Bhavsar. He is a mechanical engineer. He is from Mechanical Engineering Department of Sardar Patel College of Engineering, Mumbai. He has teaching experience of 10 years in undergraduate and 9 years experience in postgraduate thermal engineering. He has expertise in subjects of computational fluid dynamics, CFD, thermal systems, optimization methods. He is CWC member and marketing chair of ISHRAE Mumbai chapter. Welcome, Kunal, sir. So our next panelist for the academia is Mr. Gunjan Kumar. Mr. Gunjan Kumar, alumni of IIT Dhanbad, is presently working as assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, IEM, Kolkata. He is the faculty advisor of ISHRAE IEM model student chapter and also hold post in ISHRAE Education Committee with responsibility of ICP Zonal Mumbai East. In the past too, he has served ISHRAE as student activity chair Kolkata chapter, CWC member and student activity zonal chair East. Mr. Gunjan Kumar has over 15 years of experience, which includes 8 years of industrial experience and 7 years of teaching and research experience. A very warm welcome, Gunjan, sir. So our last but not the least panelist for academy is Mr. Prasad Vaidya. He focuses on the interdisciplinary area of sustainable energy and buildings, including practice, operations, and training of energy and climate-related concentrations. Partner at the Hvac Group and has worked on the energy efficiency of over 150 buildings, including net zero energy buildings. Mr. Prasad led the LEED certification of over 25 buildings, including platinum and gold rating projects as well. In India, he has worked on policy level implementation of the energy conservation building code. He was a professor and area chair of building energy performance at CEPT University. He established MTech in building energy performance program. So I welcome all the panelists to today's panel discussion. So I would like to request Mr. Vaidya sir to start the panel discussion with Vikram sir.
Thank you, Akash. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to wish everybody, the panelists, as well as the youngsters who are out there, that this is a great opportunity. And let's get started with the panel discussion. So, yes, Mr. Murthy, you and I are from a different generation. And maybe we can start by first talking, what is the main difference between, say, our generation of when we were young at some point, and what is the difference between when we were young and how we behaved and what opportunities we had versus the youth from today?
Okay, this is an interesting question, but I will take your question a little further. I will try to answer this question with 3 generations: my parents' generation, mine, which is also quite a long time ago, and the generation of today, which is in the 21st century. So in my opinion, the evolution of youth is the transformation from being a child who is dependent on his or her parents to one who has become independent youth and adult. So I think this evolution is a function of 3 things. One of them is skills, which you learn, which you get educated by. The next is aspirations. What are your aspirations? What do you aim to do? What are your ambitions? What drives you? And the last one is opportunities, which of course is what you're driving towards. So let us take the generation of my father, and the skills available at that time were there were very few. There was the skill of studying law or civil engineering. There were not many other branches of engineering. There was medicine, and there were the arts. And what was the aspirations of his generation? He came of age when India just about became independent. Came of age means he became adult, he got his work. So one of the big aspirations of his generation was to build a modern and a new India, because that was everybody's national spirit at that time, of all his own parents' upbringing and his. So the driving of India, the aspirations were, we should serve the government, we should serve our nation, we can do something to build our nation, institutions, and all the good things like that. What were the opportunities then? There was the civil services to do all these things. there was lots of opportunity to build institutions, as indeed some great people built the milk revolution, the agricultural revolution of India, and all these wonderful things were there. Also, there was a huge opportunity in law. So that was how his evolution, or my parents' evolution, took place with all these things. My own generation, by the time I went into college in the 70s, there were a lot of technology. Engineering has become big. There were new sciences like aeronautics and digital electronics and metallurgy and chemical engineering, electronic chemistry. So all these things were there. Medicals had moved into big specialty. Management became a big thing. The whole thing about management came about in the 70s in a very big way. And of course, the arts, which was earlier very simple, branched out into many more things of the arts. And what was my aspiration, or my generation's aspiration? There were two types of aspiration. One was that we had become disillusioned with the government because there was not much progress happening then in India. There's time for change. So some people were driven to do a lot of social change. And some of us were driven to be working for the private sector and earn big salaries and be very important and become managers and get used to the comforts of life, which is what is caused by global warming today. And also many of us aspire to become great academics and study in good institutions and therefore have a very good and a very nice life career. And what were the opportunities available to me? Again, there was the expanding private sector in India. There was a boom in manufacturing. There was a lot of management specialization opportunity. There was a great amount of entrepreneurship available at that time. And of course, I'm sorry, there's some sound coming in my house and I hope it stops. And of course, there were great opportunities with consulting. Now let's talk and focus about the youth of today. So then the skills available are far more than what I had. There is a huge opportunity in technology. There's digital technology. There's new medical sciences. There's mechatronics. And of course, I would think the management advances have become very big. But the aspirations of the youth are now, in this world of 1.4 billion Indians and 8 billion people in the world, then the youth have aspirations to be impactful. To be respected, to make a difference. So these are the aspirations of today. And if they have these aspirations, they are certainly going to be able to be successful. But the opportunities are tremendous. As much as we think the opportunities have become limited because we are too many of us, but the opportunities are tremendous. There's a big opportunity in innovation and startups. Government, it's very nice to work for the government today in India because the government is doing many wonderful things. I also work a little bit with the government and I'm really impressed by many of the things they do. Not so well, some of them, and very well, some others. And there's big opportunity in big contracting, in big consulting, in contract manufacturing, in specialization. Of course, there are many other subjects which are not in our field. And so I think that there is this huge change of this evolution from a generation ago, like yours and mine, to now. And it's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I will like to ask something to Kunal. Kunal, I think to me, academy and industry are two important pillars of our economy. A robust collaboration between the two in designing courses for enabling innovation, growth in the education system, and producing an employment-ready workforce is a need of the hour. For example, I feel little disheartened because post 70 years of independence, a right course on building engineering services, we all know 70% of India is still to be built. And that is where a huge scope lies on HVAC and our industry professionals and also other allied MEP services like PHE and electrical related to the building construction industry. And then giving chance to students to work on live projects in final year, make them skilled through ready-made possibility, which will benefit the industry also. Why should industries waste time and resources on developing skills when actually academia is right institute to do so? Is something I fail to understand. So Kunal, I know some of the institutes are working onto it, but I am not seeing the sea change. ISHRAE is through our student chapters doing fantastic work. We started this movement in 2006-07, but still I'm not seeing that happening in terms of courses where I, as a MEP consultant, if I have to spend 5 years to train a student to be really useful to me, it is a hard time for professionals like us and many industries. So how can institute like yours or Prasad's or Gunjan's can help us in this?
Thank you for your questions. And first of all, thank you, ISHRAE, for giving us this chance to be on this panelist. And uh, uh, yes, right, very rightly asked, sir, Pankaj, sir. This has been a question since many times for the industry that when do they get the industry ready students, and how much time they can reduce, or they get students which are absolutely ready to join the industry. Yes, first of all, that the academics, when we see in an overall that right from the teaching the fundamentals to introducing them to the systems. First of all, basic mechanical systems, then to the complex mechanical systems. Then we go and ask them also to understand this systems and recreate them, or maybe create something which is more efficient than the current systems based on their basic knowledge and fundamentals they know. Yeah. Apart from this, they are also expected to match up to the industry standards, the vast industry standards which is there, currently. And in the vast field, for if you say mechanical engineering also, there's so much of vast field even after the current graduation, and it then becomes the a collaborative work, we can say, for the students, for the industry and the academicians. They can come to one intersection where we can manage some of the proper collaborative work, and we can get the students to the industry as they want, or as far with the industry standards. For example, if we see that ISHRAE is doing absolutely a wonderful job in this particular field, like the student, they are also having the student members. ISHRAE is allowing the students to become a member of this professional society right from their graduation years. And in that, definitely the trainings which the students get, the industry and the site visits which they see. So that's what we believe, and that's what the students also believe, that seeing is believing, and the understanding their concepts through what the industry practical knowledge they get in the industry. So this wonderful activities which we see here, and they experience these are the activities or the experiences that will definitely help students in their near future to get along with the industry. What systems currently they are being developing, because we see that industry is ever changing, and in ever changing industry we have to cope up with this academics also. So this, along with the activities with the students, for example, we give them the project-based, industry-based projects. So industry-based projects, then the internships, which is now a mandate from the AICTE. If we know that, any engineering graduate should have an internship into his name, and should have been worked with an industry, so that he or she can be possible in the company which is already spending time in the internships. They can directly cut their time and get the graduates ready working for them. So in that way also, the academicians, the academics, parallel to their academics, we can work on the students, and we can make them industry ready. Apart from this, many of the institutes we have been seeing that they have their industry panelists in their subject boards, in their academic boards. We have seen that based on their inputs and the feedbacks, every year the course has been revised. Every year the the subjects which are there, the basic subjects, the part which is not relevant to the current industry is being revised with what their feedbacks of the industry people. Apart from that, and if you see the new structure of engineering today is becoming a choice-based course system. So the choice-based course system allows the students to to follow a proper path. Like if they want to follow thermal engineering part, they can follow the subjects of thermal engineering only, and they can make their career in thermal and fluid engineering. So it will definitely come in a near future when we see that a majors that is going to happen with a mechanical engineering degree with a majors in thermal engineering or majors in fluid engineering, like that. And definitely, thermal and engineering, and we will definitely see the majors in HVAC and our industry also, engineering also. So yeah, similarly, we can see that in the electrical part that not only power systems but and the transformation systems, but we can also expect building electronic systems and the building electrical systems being majors in the electrical engineering. We can expect that in a very near future and short time. This has been started. The initiatives are taken at the academic level. Apart from that, yes, it is the students which they have to definitely understand this thing that when they are going to be going in the industry, it is their duty that they have to pick up, they have to work ethically for that particular industry as per their standards. So that is how one at both the industry as well as the academics can collaborate for the better future of our youth in the in next decade or obviously coming years. Yes, sir. So yeah. So I hope this is how we can create one environment or an ecosystem where the students can definitely, when they pass out, they can definitely be absorbed by the industry and start working on them from the very next day. Yes.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you.
Okay. So in continuation with the discussion that made, let me first put also before putting my question to Pankaj sir. Let me touch the topic that given by sir. Sir, very first on the academia, what I want to say is that we have to accept that we are rounding on the bank. We have to enter in the water. That is what first place I feel. That as academia, we have to enter in the water. And that water taste sometimes we are not getting. Means what I want to say is that the real life project where it is supposed to work. And when also I will say the industry, they are, of course, they are validating the every vendor for that, and human resources also your vendor, sir. So you have to be validate the educational institute, be the part, not just as an advisory board, be the regular part of the everything. And then what I also feel that but you have again a pressure of quarter, so quarter performance. So as we both are there, but as there is an option and scope where we can work out. And of course, the applied research. In fact, if you refer little bit of IT industry, the TCS, Cognizant, the IBM, then Google research, they are going to the institute and they are making partnership. And in fact, last final year student is getting like a regular intern or project, and they are putting their hands in this fire. So that what the core has to learn also from that, what I feel. So this is what I have to supplement this the question that you have directed to all of us, sir. So now I'm putting one relevant points here directed to Pankaj sir, in fact from the academia end. Sir, there is the Ready committee from AICT, and they have come up with one report in 17-18 that out of the skill required, that is they have a major skill, that technical skill, soft skill, professional ethics and attitudes. So 30% is the weightage they have given technical skill. Balance 70% goes to soft and the professional attitude. So under this light, sir, as an industry, and in fact, sir, we know that that a person like you is going to be a great mentor for every academia and the student too, and all the youth generation. So my question to you is, how do you see the evolution of this student towards the ethics, responsibilities, and leadership for our new future? I can say the new future of my all the young and youth. So is my question clear?
Yeah, I think Am I audible?
Yes, sir, very much.
So Gunjan sir, I think nowadays ethics should be given an essential place in all the fields of life. You all know that today the life has become so fast that the moral values have taken a backseat, and every person wants to be successful and rich in a very short time. Uh, to be successful in life, we must have the morality that complements our education and knowledge. And to become a better citizen, ethics should be put as the way of life in the educational system also. So ethics is classified as a unique values such as integrity, discipline, and honesty. And current generation has to keep in mind that ethics impacts and the behavior and the permit an individual to make the right options. So being ethical includes honesty, which means being good, being loyal, truthful, trustworthy, sincere, and fair. The confidentiality means commitment not to disclose or transmit information to the unauthorized people. Responsibility and commitment is also one of the vital ethics which the youth needs to understand, and taking responsibility and then fulfilling it can only lead to success. To manage life and act responsibility is a very hard without ethics. The significance of ethics cannot be disregarded in any level of life. Ethical and moral values need to be developed more and more for our future generation to become true Indians. Our students of today have tremendous opportunities becoming tomorrow's leaders. In the 21st century, some of the most important leadership skills in which today's generation are very proficient are communication and collaboration skills. And everyone knows that teamwork makes the dream work. And today, people have access to social media and gadgets to communicate immensely. And all these technological advancements are helping us. Uh, all these technological uh, advancements can be used as an advantage by the youth for becoming good leaders. Earlier, there were no computers when we started our career, and Vikram will endorse. No mobiles, no TVs, no social media to connect with the people. Life was more difficult for leaders. Uh, Someone rightly said that the great leaders are leader possesses a clear vision, is courageous, has to be integrity, honesty, humility, and clear focus. So great leaders help people reach their goals, are not afraid of hire people that might be better than them and take pride in this. So the best leaders operate in 4 dimensions: vision, reality, ethics, and courage. And leadership without ethical value is a big disaster, not only for the society, but also for the environment. I feel that the students today, it is easy to become efficient leaders due to the vast opportunities available in the field, but have to understand that making of good leader with high moral values can only make this world a better place for future generation. And I think ISHRAE is doing fantastic work in creating this leadership. I owe my entire growth of life to ISHRAE because it has given us those platforms, and we had no such opportunities in our early career. So thanks to ISHRAE, thanks to Moni and entire team, Moni, of course, Akash and all Chandigarh team for inviting me and making me part of this wonderful evening where Vishal, Amitabh, Vishal, Harshal, Kunal, Gunjan, and Vaidya are part of it. So thanks to you and inviting me here.
Thank you, sir. I think sure it is going to be a big motivation and good learning to all our youth and students. Okay, sir.
Wonderful. Gunjan, you asked a really nice question. And I'm reminded when I was in school, we had moral science as a subject, which is not very much there anymore because there's so much to study in a short time. But parents, teachers, companies, leaders, bosses, they all must have this high moral value. So related to that question, I'm saying that in preparation of students in a college or in a nice institution where you're giving them such good teaching and knowledge and subjects, then can you comment about what motivational tools or what methods you may recommend to supplement formal courses to create a spirit of passion and innovation in students? Because once he has passion and innovation, he becomes a good guy, because that's what drives him. And so how do we create that? In what way can we create it? As you also said, 70% of a person's development is beyond academics. So how do you create this innovation and passion in the students so he can sustain his career and also he can have a balance of life? This is my question.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, sir. I think you have touched the center point that every youth and a student faced, that the creativity, innovation, the balance of work-life balance. So what as a teacher I suggest very first place is that take the ownership of your life and create your own values. When you are creating your values, that means you are trying to excel, and excel required not only in institute, you required in whatever organization you go. It is supposed to be. But let's take a different journey here. As mentioned by our Vishal Kapoor sir, that HVAC is the industry for tomorrow. But dear student and young youth that you have joined today, what work yesterday is not going to work tomorrow. Okay, so you have to ready for that. So then again the question is, you have enter from your kid, teenager, then now the institute or any university, any programs. So what you are expecting in the formal education? During the formal education, you are expected to have few capacity. What capacity you are expecting? The capacity to I can say the research and ask question, capacity to innovate and creativity, capacity to handle the change, and capacity to handle the fast changing technological world, the capacity to have a moral values as mentioned by Pankaj Dharkar sir. So having this capacity, again the thing is that you have to be a student of the university of your own life, not just having a student of certain programs. So then having this, what are the things that you are going to be acquired, and the tool that as mentioned by Vikram sir, that this in the informal education is going to make you passionate. How to do that? Let's again go to your kid level. How you have started learning? Learning started by having a painting or a sketching. I think we have forgotten when we have traveled up to the university level. During that, what you are doing is you are having a capacity of power of imagination. This power of imagination will, if you have, that means you have a power of imagination of your clear destination of your life, clear fortune of your life. In that, then you can design your life. So if you have that clear power of imagination, make it gamified. How to gamify? As mentioned by Kunal sir and other panelists also about the ISHRAE, that ISHRAE is offering such a wonderful opportunity to gamify the event. I teach thermodynamics, but my students learn thermodynamics when and practice it when they participate in the the quiz competition, because there's a motivation. And so that's inspired them to do more and bring fire inside what they have. Then also there's a design challenge where a student is putting effort, and thanks to Prashad sir bringing solar decathlon, another hurdle, and a student is enjoying to cross these hurdles. So this is what gamification is done. TCS have done the Code Vita competition as mentioned earlier by my end. So they have entered up to the second year. Similarly, ISHRAE is doing for all our HVAC industry and also for the core industry. Then what third motivation I can say, the as sir mentioned, the tools that you have to go, the power of networking that ISHRAE again is providing to each and all of us. The relationship, build the relationship not in your family, not your friend. As you build a relationship in the college, I always say my student, build a relationship. Maybe in future it is your life partner, but as build a relationship that will change your destiny in the future. And then have a good book reading habit. If you learn the book, sometimes success story, sometimes failure story, this will give you the clue how to approach the problem of life. because life is going to be a not 5-mark question. It is going to be a challenge that need to be solved. So that's what I prefer. And of course, I will say at the end that the gamification, this the book reading, then having a strong personality, the character building. That is what I can say. How you can do is that having a attitude of a compliment, not complain. Having an attitude of respond, not react. Having an attitude of, I can say, the explore, not explain. If you are going to be developed, I'm sure as a student, and you believe I have practiced this through my ISHRAE platform and the association, and my student is doing magic. And that's why with my confidence, I will say that as this is the tools that will change your dimension, but as always be the work and enjoy the work, not miss, be a absorb, means I can say the sock that you have sponge, absorb everything, not let allow, and take your own decision. Be a student of your life, not be a follower. That's what I recommend to my each and every the person that we have joined as a youth and a student. Thank you, sir. I hope I've tried my best to
yeah, wonderful answer. So one of the best tools is to be an example yourself. So I learned from my teachers, and you are imparting your own example and your own inspiration to your students. And another wonderful thing you said is the habit of reading, because that makes you learn so much, and you also develop your communication skills. So these are two wonderful things, and example is the best teacher. Be a good teacher, you will motivate your students. Thank you so much.
Yes. So I would just like to add to Gunjan sir what he said from the panelists in the project-based learning. When we see the project-based learning, there was an initiative which is called as Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, and through this the students were to visit the villages, and they have to identify the societal or maybe the industrial problems, small industry problems, small scale industries they are having in the villages, or maybe their societal problems, whichever they are facing. To identify the problems itself gives them a motivation that to give them a solution, or to be innovate in such a way that they can help the society, they can help the industry. And so these are some of the tools and the project, and thanks to ISHRAE, they are funding so much of research for the students every year, and that initiative and the motivation, as rightly said by Gunjan sir, is the key in any innovation, or is a tool for innovation. With this, I think there are many students here who are attending, and the young graduates who are attending this particular session. They're very keen to know the future of we have seen the future of HVAC and Arka, but we want to see people, the insights of the R in the HVAC and Arka industry, and that is where the students want to know more about it. So my question is to Harshal Surange sir, is that can you give an insight of the cold chain industry and the refrigeration industry, how the job market can be in the next 5 years of time, or maybe the next 5 to 10 years of time, and what are the basic skill sets that a student or a graduate can acquire, so that they can be in this evolving industry we see.
Right, thank you. Thank you for that question. Being from the refrigeration and cold chain industry myself, I think it's my pleasure to let the students know about how the industry is. So point number one is that the industry itself is one of the tremendously high potential industries in India today. You can see in the last 2 years itself that the cold chain or cold storage industry itself was considered as an essential industry. All other industries were shut, but the cold storages were running. That is one of the industries which kept moving. So it's an industry which is not going to die. Whatever happens, it's an industry which stays. So as an industry per se, it's one of the very high potential industries. when we look at opportunities for jobs, I would say you can look at it in two ways. One is, as a field itself, there are multiple fields within the cold chain sector. Like in cold chain, you have fruits and vegetables, you have pharma, you have meat, you have seafoods, you have horticulture, you have all of these various sectors part of cold chain, which all in their own way form a very large component of industry itself. Beyond cold chain, then of course there is the process refrigeration, which is the industrial refrigeration. That's another huge field, which there's like tremendous potential. There are the commercial and the front ending businesses. That ends up being, so the display cabinets and all these. This becomes a very different field. Another area for where jobs can come up is basically the field itself. So where you have contracting, you have consulting, you have manufacturing, you have the trading, you have the service companies. So much effort has been put into creating, but there is a service angle. These all people need services. So all of these end up being a very significant portion for a person to get into. And being this big industry, this tremendous potential industry, Vishal spoke a lot about the potential of various industries initially. I think this is one area where students can very, very logically and very practically look at as making a career, because there is tremendous growth. Now, for them to acquire skill sets, I think one of the key things that came up in one of the initial questions is that the academia really needs to generate courses where cold chain per se, or refrigeration and cold chain, become a subject that you take up. Like today you have RAC, which is taken up by most of the refrigeration air conditioning. But I think cold chain is a field which itself can be a course. You don't really need it to be a sub part of something. It is something that needs to be a course, and a genuine skill set can be developed as a cold chain person. And then there are these hundreds of fields that you can get into as a part of this cold chain. Of course, there are so many other things that can be spoken about, but I don't think we have so much time. I hope I've broadly answered the question that you had, Kunal sir. And I think in continuation with something that you had only said earlier, my next question is to Vaidya sir, that we have seen so many cases where, especially in the developed parts of the world, where industry and academia, they actually work together. So if the industry has a problem, they go to the academia and they say, look, this is my problem. Instead of me spending money on research, why don't you take up this problem and give me a solution? Are we today in a position where our academia can actually live up to that expectation? Can the industry just directly come up to the academia and say that, look, this is a problem that I have, can you give me a solution? Are we at that stage today?
Thanks, Harshal, for that question. It's kind of it's a question that has multiple answers, because there are multiple academia, and not each college is the same as another, not each professor is the same as the other. But it's an interesting question related to where I'm at in my life also, and I want to talk a little bit about that. Vishal Kapoor talked about the fantastic growth that we have for the HVAC industry, with the kind of growth that we are going to see. Unfortunately, it also means that there's going to be a lot more of cooling energy that's going to get used. And 30% of the global emissions that are resulting in climate change are coming from buildings, more on the industry side. But even on the building side, half of those 30% are coming from heating and cooling. And as our generation, or the generation that we are talking to, there is a responsibility here. It's a responsibility of making sure that we don't end up in a hot soup. And it's going to require innovation, right? And I think we all agree about that. Pankaj talked about, how is the academia responding to this? Kunal talked about the innovation that is needed, and others have talked about it also. So, like you said, in the traditional mode, the path to this is through R&D partnerships, where industry will go to academia and say, this is what we want to develop, can you do the research, etc. For that, you need labs, you need R&D centers, and you need faculty who are given incentives for stepping outside the domain of pure teaching and academics. And I would say that in the large part, the academic environment in India does not provide the kind of incentives to faculty members to be able to step outside that zone. And therefore, we don't get that kind of leadership. We don't get that kind of, the labs being set up in the same way that you would see in many other countries around the world. So, but there are still some things that the academia has to offer to industry. First of all, you have faculty who have expertise, and they have a rigor of approach. And that's something that I think we need to recognize. There are students who have enthusiasm and energy who can work on the research. But these academic institutions are not always geared up in terms of the infrastructure that's required to do the research. And like I said, there aren't too many well-stocked labs. And usually this kind of stuff is not allowed, or it's difficult to get around with the structure of the curriculum that we have. And I've seen this over and over again. You're forced to teach a certain number of credits. You're forced to teach a number of courses. Students are loaded with credit work and courses work. And where are they going to get the kind of freedom that is required to explore and do research and do development? And I saw this, and I was looking on one side at the issue of climate change, on the other side of what's happening with academia and industry. And I'm thinking, my generation has actually created the problems of climate change. And now we are expecting our next generation to live with it. And we really need to do something. So part of my journey now is to say that, there's no time to wait on having some sort of formal policy structure happen, change in incentives happen, where this is going to change. And that was one of the reasons why I decided that we have to have solar decathlon type of a competition, a solar decathlon in India here. What it does is, and ISHRAE is an affiliate of that. So it brings together the best minds of the engineering world in academia as well as in practice. So what happens is that industry needs a certain amount of flexibility around the structure of the curriculum, and what faculty are supposed to teach and students have to take up. And that flexibility is something that we try to bring in through the Solar Decathlon India. It's a challenge for students to develop net zero solutions. And it requires academy industry collaboration, because students and faculty don't always know what the best technologies are. And the people who are producing the technologies don't always have the wherewithal to be able to integrate them into the buildings or into the solutions that are taking place. So this marrying actually happens in a competitive environment, kind of what Professor Gunjan Kumar was talking about with the gamification. So students really get excited about participating. Faculty get excited because the learning is provided by us through Solar Decathlon India. So faculty is actually free now to mentor the students as opposed to having to teach the content. And that creates more creativity in the process. So industry provides the technology and know-how. Industry gets to mentor the students and that test the boundaries of the solutions. And that's where the innovation actually occurs, because you need the space to be able to experiment, and you need the space. You need the structure and the mentorship that's also needed. So the good thing is that owners, because these students are working on real building projects, the owners actually get to see the latest technologies applied in the most innovative ways. So it's bringing together an ecosystem. faculty and students are working on the solutions, industry is getting to mentor them, and the real estate people who are actually building the buildings get to see the best thing that can be done. And this is the mindset change that we need and we are trying to create. So, and this is one example. Solar Decathlon India is open for registration right now, but the fact is that there are such kinds of initiatives that are needed where we create flexibility around the rigid curriculum that we have, and we really don't have time to wait, and we need to do this in multiple ways. And I'm really glad that ISHRAE is an affiliate for Solar Decathlon, but also the fact that ISHRAE has got so many other initiatives going on that brings the youth, brings the youngsters, and is trying to make change happen. So yeah, it's just fantastic work that's being done. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is a wonderful answer, Prasad. So I'm going on to something which I will also ask some of the other panelists here, my colleagues here, and that is, what should we be doing to create more jobs, more opportunities, and a better infrastructure so that the youth will be able to find opportunities to work and things like that. So I will begin by giving a very small impression of my own. Then I will request Pankaj and Harshal also to say something about it. So my point is that you see, the infrastructure or the opportunities are market driven. Most of India's air conditioning, 70% is in the residential sector. It will continue to grow and it will continue to be driven by the market. So we must have innovations over there, and whether companies are wanting to meet that innovation. The other part is that we must prepare people to be able to have solve and to work in the new areas which are coming up, which Prasad talked about, that we are faced with climate change. And so we must look at very resilient ways of putting up buildings. We must look at renewable energy opportunities. We must look at so many other different things. So what we must create all the tools to teach people and be certified to handle it, to handle district cooling, to handle radiant cooling, to handle evaporative two-stage cooling. There are many new things, and also passive construction of buildings. All these must be learned, and then we will solve the problems. And so we will create huge opportunities if we do all that. And lastly, I think this was touched upon by Gunjan and some others, that we must create these opportunities of mentorship and being able for students across all ISHRAE's student chapters to be able to do summer training for 6 months or whatever, even after they finish in some companies. And many of us who are members of ISHRAE, including me, must step forward and allow this to happen very, very holistically. And that will prepare them for the future. Opportunities will come out of that. So Pankaj, you can continue, and Harshal after that.
I think we are well said, Vikram. I think I agree 100% on all your points. And I was just seeing it on the chat box, some question put up by somebody that whether the COVID has brought down the AC sales. And my answer to him is that I am doing more business than what I was doing 2 years back. Pardon me, but this has opened up a very huge market for low side distribution, where people have started thinking about infection-free environments, and therefore all of us are today busy. Even on the commercial projects, nobody would have thought, to think about creating multiple filters and purification system, which is happening today. Rich people like Ambani family is making another Antalya. I think people should know this, that people have started worrying about air so much that it also brings us a business opportunity to all of us who are in this industry. And why not? The science is catching up. Our friends who are working actively on this air purification market, they will endorse my statement. And to me, I think with 70% buildings to be built in this country by 2030, it's a huge opportunity. We are at a stage in our profession that we are now selecting the projects to work on, and that only indicates that a huge amount of work is available, which is coming up. Large infrastructure developments, the way the airports are growing, the railway station, the Prime Minister wants to make them as good as airports. Also, the aspirations in houses have gone to at least 1 or 2 bedrooms, in a middle class family are air conditioned today. We know our childhood days when we always lived on fans. We never had the luxury of going to air conditioned cars. Means I remember when we started career and we used to sit in a ambassador car. Moment the air conditioner is put on, the speed used to drop down to 40 kilometers from 80 kilometers. In fact, this program is being organized by Chandigarh. I remember distinctly when I was moving towards maybe 20 or 25, 30 years back, when I was traveling towards north of Chandigarh, the driver will switch on the AC. Switch off the ACs when we were climbing the hills, So those were the days. Days have transformed. Air conditioning has become part and parcel of, it is no more a luxury, it is an essential thing. And to my friend who asked this question, I must tell you that it is this kind of events, which were definitely dampening effect in early days, are also brightening effect for us. We are always going to be in demand in HVAC in our industry. Harshal gave you such wonderful examples. That cold chain has to, we are still in infant stage, and it's a huge refrigeration market, for which we need a lot of young engineers. And I urge through this platform that please don't, and I'm looking forward for good quality engineers to come to my field. I remember when I joined Voltas, my bosses were like Mr. Vikram Murthy. He was from IIT. Krishnan was from IIT. Mr. Sudhir Sinha was from IIT. I want to see many more IIT graduate students and students from good institute to join this profession and help us to create a sustainable and green country. I think we are there, as Prasad said, the climate change. We are seeing, all of us are seeing currently the TV news, what havoc and what kind of news is the climate change. My own daughter works for United Nations. I keep getting from her extraordinary inputs on climate change. So I think it's a very, very big area where youth can really contribute a lot. And ISHRAE is doing fantastic work. So thanks to all of you.
Thanks, Pankaj. I am completely with you that we need to get the youth to really know this industry, and I think ISHRAE is doing a brilliant job in that, in basically reaching out to the students and connecting with them and giving them the opportunity to take the decision that whether we go into a field like IT, or maybe we get into a field like finance or something, or we get into this field. Once people know about the field, once people know about the opportunities that exist, I'm very sure that this is one area where a lot of careers are going to get built, and really good careers. Meaning you have wonderful potential. We have good payments now which are coming out in the industry. Industries are paying well to newer talent. So I think it's mainly about letting the people know about this industry. People need to understand and know about these industries. Such events definitely make a big impact in all these cases. Thanks.
I think yes.
Did we lose Harshal?
No, I finished.
No, he's finished. He's finished. Yeah.
Finished.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So as Vishal sir said, this has to be in connection with what the youth has to be known about this particular industry. Not only that, the question which was asked in the chat, I remembered that even in the lockdown period, it was an opportunity for especially the government buildings and the busiest airports and the pending metro works and the other things. It was the best time for them to reshape their HVAC system. And yeah, so I have seen that even the members and my colleagues in HVAC chapter, I've seen them working in the lockdown also continuously so definitely the jobs are there. The air conditioning system or the society was pretty much working. Apart from that, the cold chain, you can see that the cold chain is pretty much busy now, with also the not just the blood and the the platelets or the plasma, but the cold chain is also busy with one of the most important transports, that is of the vaccine. So again, this all things which are developing, and as these things are developing more and more, it will require more workforce for them in the next years. So yes, I've seen that, and that's what the observation I have seen. Apart from that, what all the writing panelists have said, that the tools like what Gunjan sir said, the what Prasad sir said, like where we have to develop the lab, so we can develop a lab for based on the industry. Apart from that, I can also suggest that we can bring more training programs for the academicians also. So we can, if we can train the academicians, they can train your students definitely. And yeah, ISHRAE has been doing the faculty development programs with the help of AICT in most of the universities. So that becomes a big chance for us academicians also, so to learn the ever-changing development of the industry and to give what is the best and what is in current industry going on to the students. So that is how we can pass on to the students this particular development. That is so.
Before I request Prasad sir to conclude on the behalf of academia, so I have a few quick things to say, and of course I also want to acknowledge and let's see the creativity of our youth team. The theme of this, today we are celebrating this International Youth Day, is transforming food system, and Harshal sir is our panelist. And there's a generation starting from Vikram sir and myself, I think is the youngest one in this panel. And just see so I really appreciate and applaud our youth team for this novel thinking and putting Harshal sir in the limelight. Sir, it is your year. I'm sure, sir, the leadership from your end through this ISHRAE platform and other, sure we will able to deliver, and my student and young will sure learn from you, and sure they will compete and deliver the industry expectation. Now, one thing that I want to say in the positive note, that what we are discussing this industry academia connect, and that there's a question. Whether we have a creative syllabus, or whether we have a creative campus, or whether we have a creative teacher. As a nation or industry and academia, because we both are a stakeholder, and we are forgetting two major stakeholder, the regulator and the society. And we are taking a problem from society to handle. There is a good GM crop. Due to the time, I'm not putting here, as Harshal sir is here. If you learn the GM crop, the India from 2002 to the Supreme Court verdict on the, I can say, the brinjal, and then the public opinion. No, you are going to the society at the end of the day. So technology, everything is in the place, but at the end, we have to handle, and the public opinion is also matter at the end of the day. So what I required what I feel, and I put the open invitation to all academia, in fact, also, that let we all invest on the creative teacher. If we have a creative teacher, there is a way out. There's a way out. And here is a potential that if we can develop this thing, before pandemic, all our institute was local, solving the local problem. But post-pandemic, means ongoing pandemic, all institute become a global. Now is all IIT, MIT, Harvard, everyone is getting blended learning. So I think there is an opportunity. And in fact, Prasad sir is one of the biggest example, that solar decathlon, and where in fact I have seen personally, I have witnessed as a mentor of the team, where that more than 50 industries coming together and giving a problem. And in fact, my team too has a 15 industry collaborator to support. So I think there is way out, and we can able to develop. So little bit the creative teaching is important, a teacher required. And also there is a MOOCs, I can say MOOCs we are talking about, but there is a need of industry MOOCs, iMOOC I can say. Because cold chain is working that way, and the teacher is almost not getting connected with the day life problem. Similarly for aviation industry, similarly for power plant industry. So there is a scope of iMOOCs. As an industry, we have to look forward and come with this solution to offer this what that. And I think Harshal sir has hand raised, And with quick comment, then request Prasad sir to give your quick comments. Then as we are running out of time, so we will hand over to the session to our youth committee for the final vote of thanks. Harshal, you have anything to say because your hand is raised?
No, that was
okay. Okay, so then over to Prasad sir.
Yeah, so I think I want to close from the academia side, not by talking about faculty and labs and institutions, but by talking more about talking to the students, and so. And I say this to all my students, not just mechanical or HVAC engineering students or just engineering students, to all students, but I think it's relevant particularly to engineering students. And I there are 4 things that I think you need in terms of skills to be successful in the industry that we are going to see, which is going to be rapidly changing. And I'm going to talk about 4 things and be very short about it. First, learn how to learn. Don't be dependent on teachers to give you knowledge. Learning how to learn gives you a certain kind of confidence because you become a problem solver. But it also gives you humility because you know you're always a learner and you're not the learned. So learning how to learn is the first thing. The second thing is critical thinking. Learn to think for yourself, not because somebody is saying it is right. You have to query everything. You have to question your teachers. You have to question the information around you. And querying is different from being disrespectful. It's about being curious. So critical thinking and querying is the second thing. Communicating is the third thing. You have to be clear in messaging and you have to say more with less. If you can't do that, people don't have time to listen to you. Whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you are doing a job interview or whether you're trying to sell an idea for some other reason, or whether you're trying to make a presentation, everybody has limited time. Communicate with clear messaging and learn to say more with less. And the fourth thing is networking. It doesn't matter whether you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to get a job or you want to do collaboration on research. Contrary to what we think, what you know is actually less important than who you know in the long term. As you become more and more experienced, it is the connections that you build over your time, over your life that matter more. It's the power of community. And ISHRAE is a fantastic platform for you all to develop that kind of a community. So I've talked about climate change as an issue, and I look at it very seriously. And I'm challenging you all to become young leaders for a new net zero future for us. Thank you.
That was wonderfully said. And I've written down those 4 points because I still want to learn that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our elite panelists. I hope all the attendees have learned a lot. And now I would like to go straight forward to vote of thanks. Can we have the vote of thanks PPT, please? Can we skip to the slide, please?
Gosh, just say to Saloni, then she will hear you. Yeah. It's come. Yeah.
Yes. So, hi, I would like to invite Mr. Yogesh Thakkar for vote of thanks. Before inviting him, I would like to give you a brief intro about Yogesh sir. Yogesh sir is a mechanical engineer and an MBA in education, founder of Yogi Engineers, authorized sales and service dealers of Carrier Toshiba air conditioners. He commenced his career as branch manager with Feders Lloyd before starting Yogi Engineers, one of the top most performing career dealers across India with over 27 years of experience and a very successful businessman. He's a member of ISHRAE since 1994, President Ahmedabad Chapter, Chair Confluence Chair, K-12 Activity, Regional Director West, National Chair Membership, National Treasurer, Vice President, Technical Current Position, National Secretary. ISHRAE member since 2002, BOG member 2005, President ISHRAE Western India membership promotion chair 2012-2014, ARVC membership promotion sub region 2 at RAL, IID Ahmedabad chapter trade chair 2015-2016, treasurer chair 2017-2018, member IGBC, member Rotary Club, member FSAI. Yogesh sir, please give vote of thanks.
Thank you, Akash, for a great introduction. And this is a great moment for me. I am feeling energized, honestly speaking, with all the youth activity, listening to all the eminent speakers. And so firstly, let me congratulate on a very happy International Youth Day. Wishing you all. And thanks to all the participants who had spared their time. We had number almost touching 100. And I thank all the panelists, Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, Prasad Vaidya, Vikram Murthy ji, Harshal Surange, Kunal, Gunjan Kumar ji, and lot of hard work gone by the youth at ISHRAE team under the leadership of Srinivas, and of course Moni and Akash Saxena did a wonderful job. Big congratulations to you, and a big thanks to the support team behind the whole youth. Whatever you see today, a lot of hard work has gone behind it, and it's a teamwork of the youth and the HQ support team, ably supported by Saloni, by Ravi, Jitendra, Vikram, everyone from HQ team, Kundan. So a big thanks to all of them. And that's all from my side. I'm not able to invite you to the dinner or a high tea, but of course, that's all from my side. A big thanks to you all. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bye, everyone.